What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Christopher back again with another video. And in today's video, as you guys can tell from the title, I will be personally talking about my personal experience with caffeine versus no caffeine. Now, if you are a regular consumer of caffeine, which, let's be honest, the majority of the majority of people, at least here in America, man, everybody's caffeinated. You know what I'm saying? It's in soda, it's in food, it's in, energy drinks, it's in coffee, you feel me? This world essentially, at least in the West, it essentially runs on that caffeine, you know what I'm saying? So for people so for people who've never actually taken the time to completely stop caffeine versus come back to it, I kind of want to just give my personal take on it and just like talk to y'all about like what is it really like. Now, I've only had a few times because ever since I was about, I would say 15, 16, that's when I started to drink coffee pretty regularly in the sense of like, you know what I'm saying, like a coffee in the morning or maybe like a lot of tea, stuff like that. So coffee and caffeine, excuse me, coffee and caffeine has been kind of part of my routine for years at this point. But I've had times, and specifically since turning about 18, where I think I've had two or three times, I think, yeah, like three times now, where I've had to kind of stop cold turkey because of, issues and stuff, because I was just getting super sensitive to the effects of caffeine. Um, and I just kind of want to talk about that. So, personally, what I've noticed is that you won't really notice too much of a difference, and this is coming from a place of like, let's just for example say that normally when you drink coffee, right, the vibes are right, you know what I'm saying, whether it's that soda, whether it's that coffee, whether it's that energy drink, it's just hitting right, you feel me, like it gets your mind prepared, it gets your body like, let's go, you know what I'm saying, you're getting that dopamine hit. Now, if say you're in a very stressed period where like you have to stop caffeine, which personally that's what's happened in the times that I've had to stop caffeine, you won't really notice too much difference. Only difference you'll notice is just positives in the sense that you won't be tweaking as much. You won't necessarily like get that like lucidity that caffeine gives because, for example, right, if you're very stressed out, you're probably already very lucid. Your sympathetic drive, which caffeine activates, it's already active, so you don't need that caffeine to feel awake. You'll feel awake. Now you might start napping a little bit, but other than that, like your energy will still be good. Um, and like I said, I don't have experience with stopping caffeine completely from like a place of being chill. Every time I've had to stop caffeine, it was because I had to like, chill out more. It wasn't because I was already chill and I just wanted to try it out. So I can't talk from that perspective. I'm just talking from like my perspective, right? Which some people maybe take that, right? Where there's periods in their lives where they're sensitive, so they have to stop. Now, what I'll say is this, like I said, you won't really notice too much when you come off. I don't personally get any withdrawals, and this is coming from somebody who, in the past has drank up to like a gram or taking like 600 milligrams daily for weeks. Don't really notice any withdrawals. Maybe like a slight headache, maybe. And even then, honestly, not really. Like as long as you're hydrated and you know what I'm saying, like you're doing your cardio, like you really shouldn't notice too much of like a withdrawal, I think. I think withdrawals from people who like are just unhealthy in general and like they just sit around and don't do much. If you're outside and you're like doing stuff, like you really won't honestly notice too much, at least personally. Maybe it's me though. Um, but like I said, the main difference you'll notice though is that let's just assume you come back to caffeine. That's where you'll really notice the difference. And what difference is that? Well, personally, every time I came back to it, it does something in my brain. I don't know what it is, but when I come back to caffeine, it's like I just get literally like a hit of like, I'm not gonna say euphoria, but like if it hits right, it really does something. Like it almost makes you feel like, wow, this is what caffeine's actually like. How did I not realize this? And you do realize it. It's just obviously because we're consuming it daily, like we become numb to it, like anything, right? It's like you're washing your face, like you just do it every day, right? But it's when you take the caffeine out, and let's just say it's been like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, you come back to it, you have a cup of coffee, maybe you get an espresso, maybe you get an energy drink, you feel me? that's when you really notice it. And personally, I noticed this so much that literally when I came back, 60 milligrams was enough for me to be like really feeling the caffeine. Any more than that, and I was honestly just too hyper. You feel me? Now that I've been working back, because this happened recently too. Now that I've been working back toward caffeine, because I normally drink it before. I drink it during work because I noticed that that's probably the best time for me because I'm able to really channel a lot of the energy. Um, I've noticed that it brings memories in my mind. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's also work. I did just start a new job, but you know what I'm saying, like I'll get memories of like my childhood. I'll start like really feeling the music. I'm really just like almost almost happy. You know, it makes you a little happier, you know, and that's probably the dopamine in there, you know. Um and so yeah, and so it can kind of rewire the way you see caffeine too. Because for example, when I take caffeine out, I'll start to have a little bit more of a negative image of caffeine for a little bit. Like I'll be like, nah, I can't have that caffeine, you know. Get it away from me. No caffeine, not even Diet Coke. Just get it away from me. But when you do get the right amount and it hits right and you're in the right headspace in the right time, it rewires it, right? Because the experiences that you have change the way you see things. Your personal belief about one certain thing will dictate how that certain thing affects you psychologically. It's just truth. You know, that's something that I had to kind of relearn again because in the past I knew that, but at the same time, over time I forgot and it kind of came back and I realized that. And so, you know, like last like two or 3 weeks ago, when I took caffeine out and even just like drinking coffee, it's like I was already getting too turned up, you know. But then again, when I came back to work and I had coffee again and I saw how actually nice it is when you can actually handle it, I felt really grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? It's a very great gratitude enhancer in the sense that like because you are like able to handle it at one, let's just say you're able to handle it again, like it'll really make you feel like just super appreciative, right? And so that's kind of my story with caffeine. And then without it, I know it wasn't super in depth, but I'm just giving it honestly. People say a lot of things contradicting things. Like some people say, guys, no caffeine, get off caffeine, it helps. You don't need caffeine, quit it, whatever. I think the science is pretty clear, and I think honestly, like even just if you look at history, it's pretty clear, man. Caffeine is pretty benign. Like you won't be cutting years from your life because you're having a cup of Joe every morning, or even an energy drink every morning. um, the problem really is if you're like very sensitive and or it's disturbing your sleep and or if you're just like a very, I don't know, already like very tweaked person. But if you're like a very healthy person, caffeine is very benign. Like honestly, like it's probably safer than even like I don't know, having junk food. Actually, it is safer than having junk food. So if you're having junk food and you're saying that take away caffeine, bro, just stop because like honestly, like you're just kind of honestly a hypocrite. Not just playing, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's very benign, you know what I'm saying? Caffeine, if anything, actually has a lot of antioxidants and has a lot of actually like health benefits. Like it protects your liver, it stimulates acetylcholine, so it prevents dementia and Alzheimer's. I mean, there's just a lot of benefits to caffeine, but I'm not gonna say that it's this crazy thing that everybody needs to be on. Neither am I gonna say it's this crazy thing that everybody has to get off. Just like anything else, you have to really assess it yourself, and you have to see is it really good for you, and what can you get out of it, you know? And that's gonna take time. It's gonna take trial and error, and it's gonna take um, just personal, I guess, experience. So, if this inspired you to walk on a journey without caffeine, let me know. Honestly, guys, you know, whether you drink caffeine or not, you know what I'm saying? The important thing is, man, just do what works for you. In terms of caffeine, like I said, if it's really stressing you out and it's kind of like you don't know what to do with yourself, give both a try. Try 1 week without caffeine or maybe very small amounts, and then another week with like your normal amount and see what kind of difference it brings. In terms of sleep, I didn't really notice too much difference in sleep, honestly. Like people talk about, guys, my sleep got so much better. Honestly, not really. Like if anything, honest, I mean, this is of course because I was stressed out, but like if anything, bro, I was actually up for like 18, 20 hours wide awake, without the caffeine. So it's like, honestly, I wouldn't really say the sleep gets any better. That's only, of course, assuming that you're not drinking caffeine right before bed. If you're drinking caffeine right before bed, unless you're like a crazy tolerant person, which don't get me wrong, a boy used to be kind of like that, where I could genuinely drink like I don't know, 400 milligrams and like actually sleep. Um, and that wasn't even that long ago, actually, like 2 months ago. I remember I came back from work. I think I had like, I don't know, like an energy drink or two. And like within like an hour of eating, I was already out, bro. Like I was already trying to nap. You know, and that used to happen to me a lot during work, even like 2 months ago, a month ago. So unless you're like that, caffeine won't, uh, caffeine isn't gonna, or I should say, if you're not like that, as in like caffeine makes you wide awake, then obviously it's gonna impact your sleep. Anyways, man, I know the video is kind of all over the place, but I want to give you guys my little personal experience with caffeine because I've made videos on you know, my experience with kratom, my experience. Actually, I haven't had a video with THC or anything like that, but I've had experience with several things, and you know, I kind of want to make just videos on like what life is like with them and what life is like without them. I think a lot of the times people vilify a lot of things and a lot of substances because either they're coming from a place of ignorance or just um, kind of like personal belief. You know, personal belief really is a big dictator on how you feel because we all have consciences. We all have like our own conscience. Like everybody is different. You know, some people might drink a coffee and feel very wrong, feel very like, no, I can't drink coffee. It's bad. And then other people might drink a coffee and like just have the best time of their life, just enjoying the vibes. And honestly, the same thing goes for, you know, like a lot of things. Um, and so like, you know, everybody's different. And like, you know, at the end of the day, everything is kind of like, there's some things that, there's some things that are kind of gray, as in like everybody responds differently, man. So that's like my little experience with no caffeine and caffeine. Currently, man, I'm sipping on some hibiscus tea. I've actually kind of come back to tea. I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday, I caught me some sleepy tea, and man, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The vibes hit so right that honestly, it kind of re-inspired myself to look into tea again. I think honestly, because I'm gonna start getting more money now, I'm gonna honestly invest in some tea, man. Honestly, it's a very nice addition to the day, especially the night, I should say. Um, the daytime, I still like my energy drinks and I still like, you know, coffee and stuff. Honestly, more of an energy drink guy, if I'm gonna be honest. But you know, coffee's nice too. But the nighttime, man, tea just it just hits different. So that is your boy spiel. Hopefully you guys like this little video. Subscribe, man. Let me know what your experience is if you have it, if you've had no caffeine, stuff like that, man. Anyways, it's Christopher signing out.